It's a sad story that really began in the 1950s when the United States deposed Mr. Mossadegh, who was an elected parliamentary Democrat, and brought the Shah back in.
CIA.
And then he was overturned by the Ayatollah Khomeini, driving us into the arms of one Saddam Hussein. And most of the terrible things Saddam Hussein did in the 1980s, he did with the full knowing support of the United States government, because he was in Iran, and Iran was what it was because we got rid of their parliamentary democracy back in the 50s. At least that's my belief. I know it's not popular for an American ever to say anything like this, but I think it's true. And and I apologize. When President Khatami was elected, I publicly acknowledged that the United States had actively overthrown Mossadegh, and I apologize for it.
In the middle of the Cold War, the United States played a role in the overthrow of a democratically elected Iranian government.
You know, if you look at Iranian history, the fact is that we had some involvement with overthrowing a democratically elected regime in Iran.
Seriously. So, for example, we've expressed regret about what was done in 1953. We've had high-ranking Americans say that, you know, that was a disruption of what could have and should have been a natural development of democracy with Iran. You know, at the time, it was the Cold War, it was the Soviet Union, which seemed to pose an existential threat to everyone, including Iran, Turkey, Greece, you name it. So we sometimes, in retrospect, look back and say, you know, could we have done that a different way? And so we have regretted what happened in 1953. Finally, when it comes to the whole question about, you know, who we are, what we stand for, I think I've lived long enough to say that probably every country has hypocrisy, because it's difficult to be always transparent about what you're doing and what you say.
In 1953, the United States played a significant role in orchestrating the overthrow of Iran's popular Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. The Eisenhower administration believed its actions were justified for strategic reasons, but the coup was clearly a setback for Iran's political development, and it is easy to see now why many Iranians continue to resent this intervention by America in their internal affairs. Moreover, during the next quarter century, the United States and the West gave sustained backing to the Shah's regime. Although it did much to develop the country economically, the Shah's government also brutally repressed political dissent. As President Clinton has said, the United States must bear its fair share of responsibility for the problems that have arisen in U.S.-Iranian relations. Even in more recent years, aspects of U.S. policy towards Iraq during its conflict with Iran appear now to have been regrettably short-sighted, especially in light of our subsequent experiences with Saddam Hussein.